Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating a piece on this kind of taller piece. I'll have to take the measurements. I already unwrapped it, so I'm not sure what the size is, but that's the substrate I'll be creating on. It is a gallery depth canvas. I'll be using some of this Tim Holtz Ideology collage paper. I really love the roses. And then some chipboard embellishments, this butterfly, the word believe. This is going to be a pretty simple project. And then I thought I would use this really lacy kind of mandala chipboard. I'll be doing some background stamping with my with this stamp. I'll be sure to link all the products in the description below. Be using just a little bit of background papers. I'm not really sure how that's going to go, but I'm going to give it a try. And then I'll be using a couple of Sean Petit stencils, the background words, and the Mediterranean minis. And I will also be using teal, transparent yellow oxide, cobalt turquoise, my Liquitex heavy gel to adhere my chipboard, likely some gesso, I'm sure, for something, and my Liquitex matte medium for adhering papers. I will also be using my the Crafters Workshop Light and Fluffy Modeling Paste to do some stenciling. So I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I just wanted to create something simple. So I thought I would go ahead and give this a try. So the canvas is already prepped, so I can just start right away with that. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and paint my chipboard. So I think I'm going to use, I think I'm going to make these the transparent yellow oxide, and we'll see how that goes. Again, not really sure where I'm going with this, just trying to play a little bit and do something a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and give these a paint, a coat of paint. My paint is all gummed up in there, so, which is, goodness gracious, for some reason it's super thick in there too. So I apologize if that's off screen, but it is just here off to the right of me. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these really quick, and I may decide to paint them another color, but this will at least get a coat of something on them, and then we can go from there. I just use these when I buy this ice cream, which is like so stinking good. I like these jugs, or these cups. I had a friend who had me over for a little an acrylic painting lesson, and she shared with me that she keeps a bunch of these filled in her art room, so that they're just all ready to go and she doesn't have to fiddle with going to the sink and washing it out and getting new water and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this up really quick. I'm a clean crafter. I really don't like to have clutter around me, so I do tend to kind of clean as I go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to do some background stamping as I mentioned before. So I think I'm going to do that. I gotta move my butterfly, it's in the way of my drawer. My I have this drawer right under my computer where I'm pointing, and so if I have anything in front of it, I can't get into the drawer. So there you can kind of see it pulling out. Trying to debate what color I want to go ahead and do my stamping in. I think I'll just do it in the archival ink in black. I'm getting my black brush out. I keep that reserved for my black since that's what I use the most. I'm going to be creating on this portrait size, so I'm going to just go ahead and do some stamping with that script stamp. Pardon me. This is like my second favorite stamp. it's kind of dirty, so it's kind of hard to see the design, but oh, maybe you can see it better on here. Yeah. So it's got all this like French stuff on it, which is just my heart. So I'm going to go ahead and use that just to create a little bit of interest in the background. Because I'm going to try to leave some, I use that word loosely, to leave some white space on this. We'll see if that actually happens. I don't know. I can't seem to stop myself when it comes to color, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I'm just going to lightly set this down and press. I just want a little bit of hint of this script. And part of that, I have to kind of settle with that because this does not have a solid back. Even though it's a really narrow opening, I'm going to have some give there. So I just have to keep that in mind when doing this kind of stamping. So get that flora in, I really like that. And then I'm going to get this lower corner. I think I'm going to go around the edges as well because I think that would be really pretty on this piece. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm trying to work with cleaner hands here because my hands get just so messy by the time I'm done. I'm scraping stuff off. And then if my hand looks a little bit swollen, it is. I got a couple of mosquito bites this weekend and it is like super swollen and sore. So that, yeah, it's very swollen. Yikes. Probably should take an antihistamine. So I'm going to do that. And then I think I'm going to come around. Whoops. Sorry. I'm kind of wanting this paper to just kind of be peeking out from behind. Whoops, this is upside down. From behind this mandala, which I think I'm going to set here kind of off. So I'm just kind of trying to think about where I want my papers to go. I'm not going to come around the edges with this because I really don't want that, that look in this case. So I'm going to just tear that there. I'm going to get my matte medium out. Again, this is Liquitex matte medium. Matte medium is pretty universal in my opinion, so you can kind of use whatever you have. So we're going to go ahead and get this in here. And, you know, obviously I'm going to be covering up some of the stamping, and that's okay. It was just there to create some interest. Yeah, tear a little bit more of that off. Let's see, do we want a bit of this rose? I think so. Just a little hint. Yeah, that'll do. I think I'll go downwards with this. Okay. Get that out of my way. Okay, so I'm going to pause the camera really quick and dry this, and then I'll come back and we'll start working on the color and the composition. One moment. So pause here. I did decide I wanted a little bit more paper. I feel like it needs something maybe up here in the corner, so I am going to go ahead and add just a little bit more. I kind of knew that was going to be my decision when I started, but I'm always trying to be a little more flexible, so maybe we need to use a corner piece. This is really lovely. A bit thinner. Because for some reason I need that frame. I'm not sure why that is, but you gotta, you know, even though you're trying something new, you still kind of have to go with your gut and trust that instinct because there's a reason for it. So I'm also going to put a little bit more of this tissue paper down here on the bottom. can find a piece. It's just hair is so straight one way. It's so odd. So I'm going to get a little bit of this down here. And a little bit up here. I promise it'll be okay. I'm rarely completely disappointed with what I create, so it's all good. Let's get a piece of this tissue up here, like that. Yeah, that just feels better. There's still white space, so I'll be able to practice that whole white space thing and hopefully be happy with it. So gonna pause and dry. Okay, this is dry. I did come in just with a little bit more stamping here and here because once I got the papers down, I felt like it needed that there. So I'm going to use some crackle paint, but this time I'm going to mix some paint into it and I kind of experiment with that and see what result I get. I'm going to start with a darker color because it's going to mute it down when I add the crackle paint to the paint. So I'm going to try to get this in screen for you. So do like so, and then I'm going to get some crackle paint out. This is the Deco Art crackle paint. I'm going to probably be using more than I need to. I'm not sure what this is going to do to the crackle paint in terms of its abilities, so this is an experiment. But I don't really care for the white crackle because I feel like sometimes it's hard to cover it over. So I'm gonna give this a try. Who knows? It might not really work, but we're gonna give it a shot. So you can see that that did mute that color down almost to the color of the teal rather than the cobalt turquoise, which is much darker. So we'll have to see how that works, but we're going to go with it. And I'm going to use this big palette knife. Well, actually, I'm going to use a littler one just because my spaces are littler that I'm going to be using this. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply some of this here and there. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and go ahead and I decided I was going to add some different color to my embellishments here, and I cut this mandala in half and I just used my trimmer and I was able to cut it and then kind of fix up the edges a little bit, but I feel like they need to be a different color. So I think I'm going to leave the butterfly, the yellow, I'm going to probably give it another coat, and I think I'm going to go with the cobalt turquoise on the Believe and the mandala here. So I'm going to do that. The crackle paint is still drying, so I thought I would go ahead and try this while we're waiting for that to dry. I'm not a very patient crafter, so I like to be moving right along in the process. So, but that yellow gave us a really good base for this, and I think that was a really good choice, because now this cobalt turquoise is not going to seep in. It's not going to soak into that chipboard, which is basically kind of pressed cardboard, I believe. And so it's going to remain a little bit more vibrant than it would if I went straight in with this turquoise. See if we can get some vibrant color here. I'm going to stick my brush right in here. Seems to be globby. Yeah. It's more vibrant on the second coat, so. Perfect. Love that. Going to be beautimous. Okay, so this did not really do any crackling. We've got some interesting texture going on, but I think that mixing the crackle paint with the paint change the properties of the crackle paint. So I'm going to use a little bit of the straight crackle paint and put some on top of this area. I really want the crackle. It's part of the effect here. So I'm going to go in with a little bit here and not everywhere, but just kind of in some of those places where that teal color is, just so I can get some of that crackle effect. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then we'll pause again and let this dry. I kind of suspected that would be the case. It's sort of like if you take an acrylic and you water it down too much, you change the properties of the acrylic paint. So I suspect that that's what happened here, and that's okay. We're going to have some of this paint peeking through, and we're going to have the crackle on the top, which I think is going to be really lovely, actually. So kind of not everywhere, but here and there. And then we'll come over with a wash or something to get that color into the rest of the crackle. So we're going to pause again and come back when this is dry. Okay, we are dry. So we did get some good crackle. Let this focus in some places, in other places not so much. I really enjoy the inconsistency of that, and I love the little happy surprises like this. I just think it adds a lot of really great interest to the project. So I think what I'm going to do is do a cobalt turquoise wash. So not a glaze, but a wash. So I'm going to take some of the cobalt turquoise and I'm going to add water to it. Let me get in screen here so you can see. And I don't often do a glaze, a wash. I always forget that there's a real strong benefit to that. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try this time. Adding quite a bit of water here. I have way too much paint there, which is, again, kind of my MO. So we're going to go ahead and give this a glaze of that turquoise. A wash, rather. Sorry, misstated that again. It's not a glaze, it's a wash. And then we're going to try to pick some of that up. Just to kind of give it that, I like what that did because it kind of, it muted down the white and allowed that other color that was underneath to come through. So I'm going to go ahead and do the sides as well. And depending on how the piece comes out, I may do a raw umber glaze, I'm not sure. I do tend to go darker with these colors, the cobalt colors and the teals, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to let that, I'm not even going to wipe any of that back. I'm just going to let it be. Make sure I get in the seams here. We'll see. It's an experiment. It's all an experiment. I think I can go in with a little bit of this though and just get it a little bit darker in areas with my finger. And I'm going to dry this really quick so that we can go in with some other color. I've got that beautiful transparent yellow oxide, which is one of my favorite colors as well. So I think it's going to add a lot of really cool dimension to this. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to dry, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so when I apply the transparent yellow oxide, this is a golden fluid acrylic, I'm going to let it drip from the top, so it's going to be pretty runny. I love using this color this way. It's just really has a way of moving into, except this was really thick if I remember right. So let me shake it up. You know what? I think I'm going to grab my high flow in that same color. Just a moment. Well, we'll go with the quinacridone. I'll just change up the color. The quinacridone Nicolazo Gold is what I'm going to actually be using here. It just really, it works. is so lovely with the turquoise, just so scrumptious. Because it just kind of makes this like green as it moves down the surface. I mean, look at that. It's just, oh my goodness. I just absolutely love it. So I love that. I'm not going to disturb that at the top at all. I am going to kind of pat up here. I want to control where the rest of that goes. So I'm going to do the same from the bottom up, as you've probably seen me do in other videos. Just let that run down. Sorry about the angle, guys. Love that. And I actually love what it's doing here in the middle. I'm going to put a little bit here and there and probably pull most of it up because I want to really control the color in other areas of the piece here. A little bit more here. Probably a lot. Oh my gosh, I just love this color though. I just cannot get enough of it. Just wipe that up. I don't want that wiped up. Just love how it just spreads, like it's just so magical. Beautiful. But again, I do want to maintain some light, so that's what I'm kind of going for. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this on my mat, just so I can get a little bit of it in here. I really want that golden look in the background, so I do want that to really settle in there, all the places where the texture isn't. And then we're going to dry this, and then we're going to come in with, I may not use the teal, we'll see. May not need it. So I'm going to dry this really quick and be right back with you. Okay, folks, I want to show you what this looks like close up. I just love the surprises that come with this. So see this really dark area? That's just the way the paint settled in there. There is not a really dark thing underneath there. But it's just the nature of how this paint flows and where it settles in is just absolutely gorgeous. This is my favorite thing, trying to get that to focus. I mean, I just love those bits of texture that are sticking up there, and then down here at the bottom, it's just, oh. But and then when I get to putting my embellishments on, this is going to go here. And so I'm thinking that I want to bring in a little bit, just a little bit of the cobalt turquoise, and then put some teal just to lighten it up. So I'm going to do that here now. I'm going to get my teal out, or my cobalt turquoise, excuse me. I don't want a lot of it because I really don't want it to get, again, super dark, but I do want it to tie in with the wood bits that I'm going to be putting on here. So just going to go here and there. And I'm going to come in with a little bit of the teal just to kind of balance that out as well. Oh, I just love this. So beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to get the teal. Oh, I must have a small bottle open because this is not yet open. So let me find my tiny bottle. Prefer not to open the big one if I don't have to. Yeah, the little one is open, so I'm going to use the little bottle. See the difference in shade there? I think is going to be really complementary here to this piece. Yeah, like that. I don't want it everywhere because I do not want it to take away from this piece one bit. Just want it to add and make it just, oh, so scrumptious. Just love this texture. And you know, you can't replicate it. I mean, it happens and it's like, wow, how did that happen? I want to do that again. And you can't replicate it. It's just so magical. So that is all I'm doing with the teal. I don't want to rob the piece of the balance of color here. Okay, so let me sop this up with my same little piece of watercolor paper here. Just see what kind of magical thing we can get out of that later in life. So let me clean this up really quick and then we'll dry and I'll be back with you to adhere the embellishments. I'm not going to do a glaze. I think this is absolutely amazing and I don't want to mess with it. So, let me show you a close up really quick after I put the teal on. I just love the complement between the darker and the lighter tones of that teal, because that's basically it. This is turquoise and the other is teal. So I'm going to dry here. Okay, we're all dry now. I did realize I did not end up using either of the stencils, and that's okay. When you get to a point in a project where it feels done and it feels enough, to add more is sometimes like the biggest mistake. Like, stop when your intuition tells you to stop, and my intuition is telling me this needs to be what it is. So aside from putting on my my embellishments here. So I've got the half of the mandala, and I could actually put the other half, but I don't really want, I didn't paint it though, so that won't work. Never mind. I don't want to overwhelm the piece, so that's not going to stand out. So what are we going to do here? Perhaps the butterfly needs to go on here, and then maybe the believe on top of that. I don't know if that's too much. That really blends in. I should have thought about that. Wondering what we could do. I wish you could talk to me. This is not working. So I think I'm going to have to paint this another color. I think I'm going to reverse it and paint this the cobalt turquoise and paint this the yellow, and I think that will solve my problem. So I'm not going to make you watch me do that because it's going to make the video longer. So I'll come back to you in just a couple of minutes. Okay, a lot of things happen when I dry. So I decided to paint this. I tried to come over with the cobalt teal over the yellow, but because it's a fluid acrylic, it does not cover very well. So I decided I would paint it with the raw umber, and I'm going to emboss it. So I may emboss all of them. I haven't decided. Probably just the believe, but we'll see. So, I guess I need to put my ink on first. So I'm going to stamp it with the VersaFine ink. This is clear ink for embossing. And I don't think I want to do all the pieces because I don't want them all to be shiny, but we'll have to see how I feel about it here in a second. So I've got my my clear embossing powder. I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle that on top. And I found my little, I don't know if you watched the video where I was struggling with the pair of tweezers to try to pick this thing up again, and it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't find this tool. Oops, come on. Now you have to be able to use the tool once you find it. Okay. Let's just shake that off a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and quickly heat emboss this. Hopefully I can just hold it still on my table because I am struggling with holding on to it. So that's what that looks like, all done. And I was playing with the idea of doing a little bit of stamping on this, but I need to heat set this really quick. I forgot. Thank you for your patience. I just think it would be pretty with a little bit of script on it, just to add a little bit of interest, because it kind of seems a little bit plain. So again, I'm going to use this same stamp I've been using, and I'm going to use this corner up here. Sorry, that's a little off screen there. And I'm just going to go kind of in the middle. Yeah, I like that. Just adds a little bit of interest to the background, or to the butterfly. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So, oh, I'm just so in love with this. I'm even contemplating whether I need to do, I'm going to have to do something with the sides here, but I'll do that off camera. I'll probably come in with this quinacridone gold, or a quinacridone gold in acrylics, and do some painting of the sides there. So I need to get my heavy gel out, which is right here. And I don't like adhesives. I really despise adhesives, but they are a necessary part of life. So trying to figure out ways to make it work better is just a challenge for me. So I put some, you can't see it, it's off screen, I apologize. I put some gel medium on, or matte, the heavy gel, excuse me, on my mat, and I'm just going to use my finger and apply it to the back of this mandala. And it's going to ooze through, and then I use my baby wipe to press this all down to the surface of my project and get rid of all the extra glue. This is the only way I can figure out how to do such an intricate design and get all those parts to stick. It's just super challenging. So we're going to try this. We're going to try and see how it goes. So I'm going to put my mandala kind of right about there. I'm going to give it a good press. And then I'm going to get my baby wipe, and I'm just going to press it down. And what the baby wipe does is it allows me to press without my finger sticking to my project, but it also picks up some of that extra adhesive that's in all those little holes. So I probably will have to go in with a little paintbrush too, but I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that in a minute. In fact, I better do it now because I don't want it to dry. So it doesn't have to be a super small brush, but it does need to be kind of smallish. So we've got that, and then we've got our butterfly, and I just need to figure out where I want my believe. And I think I kind of want my butterfly off, and then maybe believe up here. It's going to kind of hang off a little bit. Maybe believe needs to come down, or maybe my butterfly needs to come down like that. And then believe maybe right there in the middle. So, just not thrilled with it, guys. I'm not sure what I don't like, but I don't like it. Just feels, I don't know if that needs to go, maybe that needs to go like that. That's kind of cool, a little bit crooked. I just really wanted it to be simple, so that's kind of what I'm struggling with here. And my believe is just not showing as much as I would like it to. So maybe believe needs to come down here. I just don't know if that looks funny. I think it'll be okay. Just not real hip on the butterfly. Maybe we don't need the butterfly. I don't know. I kind of like it, but it feels like it's a little much. I just can't decide if that sticks out, if it's going to stand out enough to be pleasing to the eye. but I don't like it crooked, so I think I'm going to bring my butterfly down here. I'm going to get a little piece of double side or foam tape to put underneath that. And I'm not going to make you watch this part because, again, the video is already long. So I'm basically just going to adhere my butterfly here. I'm going to adhere my word. I'm going to do some shading around the edges, and then it's done. So I hope that you'll check out the still photos at the end of the video so that you can see the final piece as well as all the beautiful texture in the background. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you like it, what I'm creating. And if you'd leave a comment about what you think about a longer video, if you'd prefer a voiceover, shorter version, or if you don't mind the longer. I create for you guys, and so I want to do what is going to be pleasing for you all. So let me know in the comments down below. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.